All right, Trump set to deport Nigerian convicts in the US, plus federal government to bring back over 100,000 Nigerian refugees. Good evening and welcome to Political Lens on Voice of the People Television. Today is Monday, February 17, 2025, and thanks for joining us. And in the next 1 hour, we'll be looking at the deportation of about 201 Nigerians from the US and the Nigerian government's decision to bring back over 100,000 Nigerian refugees scattered over Africa. I am your host, Chukwuma Okoro. And joining me in the studio, in our Lagos studio today, to discuss this is Mr. Dele Fadimo. Mr. Fadimo is a seasoned reporter and VOP in-house analyst. Dele, good evening and thanks for coming to the show. Big one. Good to have you. We are together again.
Yeah.
Now, let's get into it. Trump said to deport Nigerian convicts in the U.S. About 201 Nigerians are in immigration camps in the United States set to be deported to Nigeria in line with President Donald Trump's immigration policy. 85 of them have been cleared for immediate eviction from the country. According to the U.S. Ambassador to Nigeria, Richard Mills Jr., those serving jail terms are among the first batch of deportees. Following this news, Minister of State for Foreign Affairs Bianca Odumegwu-Ojukwu has called on concerned authorities to ensure that deportees are given the opportunity to retrieve their belongings and must be treated with respect as Nigerians and as human beings. Odumegwu-Ojukwu instituted that the U.S. government must follow the laid-down conventions on the deportation of persons in repatriating immigrants. Now, then let's get into it immediately. Since Trump came into office, he's been, he's smoking fire, taking out Mexicans, Peruvians, Latin Americans, Africans, people to go back to their country. And unfortunately, some of them are man cold, Some of them have, Cups in their hands and legs. Is that the right way to treat people? And we understand that among those people are 201 Nigerians. And some of them are even people who are serving prison terms in the United States of America. What's your reaction to all of this?
You see, Trump is in a quagmire now, but it remains to be seen by most of us around here, because he's pushing through this new policy at the detriment of the American business community. Today, farms had been desolate. Even the port is affected. And construction sites are in dearth of manpower. And most of these blue-collar jobs are taken by these so-called illegal immigrants. The highest point is when he was ready to deport 750,000 Indians. And Modi said he's ready to take all of them. Imagine Silicon Valley in California without Indians. What would be left of Silicon Valley? I'm just trying to lay the premise for all this, for you to understand that it's not a win-win situation for America, what Trump is pushing. But on the flip side, yes, we have Nigerians that are living in America comfortably as we speak, that they are not part of this arrangement. But I, for one, I won't support convicts remaining in America because they have denigrated our homeland. Going to another person's country to commit crime that landed them in jail is enough shame for Nigeria.
Okay, some people have said that crime knows no boundary. But before we come to the issue of Nigeria, some people have also said, I don't know how you react to this, because some people have said that, look, Trump is trying to supervise the eventual collapse of America. From what he is doing,
you see,
he's imposing tariffs.
You're even talking China, about India,
about Canada, Mexico.
Apart from that,
what is he trying to achieve?
You see, the trade war is just one aspect of Trump's wahala. Another one is interference in international politics to the extent of undermine the sovereignty of other countries. 3, I wouldn't have expected a Trump to turn what Biden did in less than 1 month. Tomorrow will be one month exactly that Trump would be in office. I mean, no, Thursday.
Thursday. 20th, yes.
You understand? And all the gains of America in Ukraine had been decimated by Trump in the last 27 days in office. Today, I thought that a Trump will not turn against American interests in this war between Ukraine and Russia. But he has turned full blast against Ukraine. Of what benefit will the meeting of a Secretary of State and his defense chief with Russian delegates, representatives in Saudi Arabia? Everybody knows that Saudi Arabia is an ally of America. They have their outpost in Saudi Arabia and all that. And then you are bringing... In fact, Zelensky just announced a few minutes ago that he was not going to send any delegation to that meeting, that he was not going to be part of that meeting.
Okay. And
so, he's taking on so many things
at the
same time. And this is not... America, that is hegemony is even threatened in the war politics. China is bringing down the neck of America with over 2 billion population and a rising economy. Anyways,
look at what
empires don't last forever. Look at what happened in Gaza. I mean, if two parties are fighting, if you want to mediate, there's a way you mediate, not fully taking side with one and hammering it on the other person to either take it or leave it. And that has also emboldened Israel. Do you know that they have taken out one of the high-ranking officials of Hamas?
I'm aware.
Yesterday.
Yes, I'm aware.
They took him out, and that is the way Israel does. When he wants to attack, he goes for the high-ranking person.
Strike the shepherd, and the sheep will scatter.
Exactly. Once you take out a general, the troop is in disarray.
I think that is Israel's military strategy.
Of course, he has done it. Israel has done it several times. But what we are saying is, why must you take on too many fights at the same time?
Okay. Now, let's localize. Let's come back to Nigeria, because we are talking about 201 Nigerians who are set to be deported. On the whole, we have about 3,609.
Yes.
But we have confirmed, the American ambassador to Nigeria, Mills Jr. confirmed that 201 of them will be sent back to Nigeria, to Lagos for that matter.
Tonight.
And not even to Abuja or Port Harcourt. Said there is no option. All of them are coming down to Lagos. Now, the issue of it is this. If you have convicts among them, did they discuss with the Nigerian government to take in these convicts? I mean, Nigerian Correctional Service, or are they bringing back these convicts so that they will let them go? Let them loose into society and all of that. What does that speak about diplomacy? About the conduct of bilateral diplomacy between nations?
I said, everything that you consider as normal in the realm of international politics and diplomacy has been rubbished by Trump in the last 27 days. It took Canada, Peru, Mexico, and the others to stand firm and say, no, you can't do this. Even if you are smaller. And it's not as if you are an island on your own, that you benefit from us and we benefit from you. So you can't just come and ride roughshod on us. Look at almost all his executive actions have been challenged in various courts in America. And there, the man is just believing that he has all it takes to move on, fighting from all fronts. For me, these people ordinarily, and that's where somebody like Abike Dabiri should have come in. This thing didn't just happen suddenly. It has always been on. By then, and unfortunately, you see, that's another problem. We don't have an ambassador in the US today. We have an embassy, But an ambassador would have been a stronger person to intervene in this matter.
Okay, but we have a Minister of Foreign Affairs.
You see?
Now, the Minister of State has weighed in, and she was more like, she was even pleading that they should be treated humanely as Nigerians. What do you think Nigeria should have done? Is it to call the bluff of US or what? I mean, because Trump is set to execute this policy. What should Nigeria have done?
You see, I think what Nigeria, because we don't really have the capacity to
resist.
To resist.
Okay.
Because one, in the long run, when you profile these people, you may be surprised that majority of those people in jail are even illegal immigrants in the first instance. So they don't have a proper record. And funny enough, I've seen deportations in this country before now, that those deported, almost 30% of them were not Nigerians. They were other nationals.
With Nigerian passport.
With a Nigerian passport. I'm sure you are aware of this story I'm talking about.
Yes, I'm aware.
You know, so it shows how porous we are. How could somebody access Nigerian passport without being a Nigerian? And this is the passport that you are required to get local government of origin, that will be signed by your local government chairman. So somebody from Niger or Chad will now go to Borno and get Nigerian state of origin, local government of origin attestation and all that, and then hold Nigerian passport. And when they are listing those criminals anywhere in the world, they list them as Nigerians. Even 2 Ghanaians were there at that time. So it shows that a lot of things had to be put in place in Nigeria for us to really get our bearing right.
Okay.
And when we don't get our bearing right,
I like the angle that you have introduced to it, because this angle is that, look, some countries also do have these programs. Like at a point, I recall that if you're able to put down 120, if you're able to put down $120,000, which is about it. No. Even in the US, if you're able to put down $120,000, which was about 12 million naira then, that was sometime in between 2008 and 2010. You know, if we're able to put it together,
and not even America alone, some countries,
you get citizenship and all of that. Does Nigeria have that kind of program to have enabled some people to acquire Nigerian passports?
No.
Not that you are aware of.
Not to my knowledge. But the point is, you see.
So it talks about how porous, how easy it is to acquire
our.
And that's about acquiring Nigerian passport. The green passport is more like it's not even highly regarded. I narrated my experience the other day where I couldn't even get into Doha because I was carrying a Nigerian passport. Even despite the fact that a hotel reservation had been booked for me by Qatar Airways. I had to transit for 17 hours in the lounge.
You are talking about that. Even in South Africa here, I was embarrassed when I went to South Africa. They just said anybody with green passport, Nigerian passport, should stay aside. I thought they were going to give me.
So why would people go out of their way to acquire Nigerian passport under this very?
But we are not the worst country in the world.
Okay.
And you see, the outsiders see the positive side of us. We see the negative side as insiders. Let me tell you, some people. I told you I went to Gambia and somebody accosted me and said he would not forgive God if he didn't allow him to set his foot on Nigerian soil before he dies. And this is Nigeria that everybody is running away from. So what we are saying is, it is not enough to deter anybody that wants to use Nigerian passports. After all, we have the sunny side of Nigeria abroad. We have our compatriots making waves in business, in sports, in music and all the rest across the world. So it's not as if everything about Nigeria is terrible, that nobody wants to touch Nigerian passport. You know? So, but the point is, why should our passport be so easily obtainable by other nationals that are not naturalized or given that privilege? That's the question. This thing I'm telling you this evening, by the time these deportees arrive in Nigeria, if they are properly profiled, you will be shocked that non-Nigerians may be part of these people. But already they have labeled them as Nigerians. 201.
201. And that leads me to my next question. Then what do you think that the government, because it's going to take us into the second topic of conversation, what do you think that the government can do to help these people that are coming back? I mean, some of them have already been, you know, rounded up and put in some detention camps, immigration camps.
Of course.
You know, so, but our Minister of State for Foreign Affairs is pleading with the Americans to allow them, you know, retrieve their belongings, whatever they have, so that they will be able to set themselves up when they come back.
America will not even allow that.
So what do you think the Nigerian government can do to help these people to reintegrate them into society?
You see, I may be a little bit hard on these people.
Okay.
If they come with their
might be hard
terms
on them.
of sentence and the kind of crime.
Let's even take away the convicts, because the convicts will now be handed over to Nigerian Correctional Services. They will take care of those ones. I mean, people that are clean. But I want you to understand that the ambassador to Nigeria, U.S. ambassador to Nigeria, said some of these people had gone, you know, for citizenship, and they were rejected, and they kept staying back in the U.S.
As a matter of fact, it is incumbent on you, if you are in asylum status and you go through the process of the law, and the country says, no, you cannot remain in our country, the best bet for you to come back. And so remaining there has negated that principle of, yes, you can come and stay with us. They have rejected you. Why didn't you come back? So if they are now caught in the web of this new administration's policy that anybody that is not legally in America should be deported, so be it. But unfortunately, no matter how much Mrs. Bianca Ojukwu pontificates, America will not listen. We have seen people that came with jeans and t-shirts to Nigeria, and all they had was the money in their pockets. They never allowed them to go back to their homes. But it's unfortunate. But you see, you get anything when you negotiate from a weak point. Any moment you negotiate from a weak point, either in business, in transaction, in diplomacy, or anything, you are not likely to get the worth of who you are or what you are. And that is what is playing out.
So anything that NICOM could do to help them, Nigerian Diaspora Commission?
What are they going to do to help them? You see, these are people that probably by the time you profile them, they would have spent 10, 15, 20 years in America. The only ones that can really survive coming back home at this point in time is because it's a shock that they may have to contend with in the next 1 year or 2 years. You know, when you are taking somebody from his natural habitat that they have spent 20 years, even right now as you are seated, if you are taking from here to Kaduna now, where you have never lived before, maybe you just went on visit, it will take you a lot of time because to acclimatize, because you have to now begin to study all over how you left your homeland and what it is today. Some people, when they left, Lekki was not in existence. Ajah was just there as a local environment. Ibeju-Lekki was like forest. Now they are going back to that place. Epe was detached from Lagos. Today, Epe is part of Lagos because there is no visible line of demarcation. So all these things, it will take time. Then the siblings you left, they are no longer what they were when you left. So a lot of things. And then which business is he going to start? Somebody who is probably in his 50s. How is he going to be received by the community? How is he going to be released by his cousins? And what betides that one that feels that because he's enjoying himself in America, he never looked back? This time they were ostracizing. And so they didn't factor all those psychological trauma these people will go through. But it's not their problem. It is we that went there at all costs. Okay,
Dele, I'm sure you are very familiar with the story of Robinson Crusoe, the man who survived in an island.
Yes.
So if he was able to survive, don't you think that these people will survive too if they come back?
Well, it's a matter of choice if you want to survive or you want to just sink in.
Okay.
It's a matter of your choice because this is already Nigeria is a hostile environment, and probably when they left, it wasn't as this hostile in terms of economic issues
Nigeria is
in
a
terms of
Nigeria is a hostile
insecurity.
environment, but people are surviving here. A lot of people are making good money.
Yes,
genuine money.
But
good
what
business.
is the fraction of those who make genuine money? What is the fraction compared to the populace? Then those who steal in government, what is even their fraction? Is there any equitable distribution of wealth in Nigeria? Is the business environment conducive for somebody who is planning a startup? Given the fact that he left when we still have some sprinkle of values. Now, all the values are gone. You are sitting in your business. You are sitting down and controlling your business. They are stealing you blind.
You sound as if we are not surviving here, but we are surviving. We are getting by one way or the other.
There's a difference
people are even coming. I understand that medical doctors are coming back to Nigeria to establish hospitals.
Let me tell you, we are surviving, but are we living? I mean, we are living, but are we really surviving? As long as you breathe, you are living. But have we survived? Have we been able to surmount all the pressures,
now,
all the hurdles?
Before we get into the second topic of discussion, do you think that the federal government, the Ministry of External Affairs under Yusuf Tuga, can do anything, to negotiate the return of the remaining? Because you understand that there are 3,609. Now they have profiled 201. Do you think that the ministry or federal government can stop, or renegotiate the return of the remaining of the 3,609 Nigerians?
Maybe you have to recalibrate Trump's brain.
Okay.
For you to negotiate anything. His mind is blind to, and unfortunately, you know that we have not heard of any deportation to India.
Okay, so should we take that direction? Say, bring them back. So that
India is ready to bring them back because it can absorb them. They can be absorbed.
I'm happy that you mentioned that India can absorb them. Now, let's get into the second topic of discussion because they're almost related. Now, the evacuation of 100,000 Nigerian refugees scattered across African countries, including Niger, Chad, and Cameroon, will soon begin, the federal government said at the weekend. Now, the Director General of the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants, and Internally Displaced Persons, NCFRMI, Tijani Aliyu Ahmed, said the government plans to empower and resell to over 1,000 Nigerians who are scattered in all parts of. Sorry, we'll go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll get into the second major topic of discussion.
Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I, from social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more. Tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. People's Voice, Mondays through Thursdays, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count. Catch up with the latest topics making the buzz, the stories that tick, the trends. Let's let you in on why they are trending, from politics, entertainment, business, lifestyle, and more. Analyzing the trending stories with top eyeballs. Hashtag on Voice of the People television, giving you an insight to everything and everyone Nigeria is talking about. Showing on VOP TV, 10 p.m. Monday to Friday. Hashtag, if it's trending, we bring it on. Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being of an individual. It's the fundamental right of everyone to enjoy the highest attainable standard of health, without distinction of race, religion, or political belief. On VOP TV, we bring you
All right there, welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Now, if you are just joining us, this is Political Lens on Voice of the People TV. Now, federal government to bring back over 100,000 Nigerian refugees. The evacuation of 100,000 Nigerian refugees scattered across African countries, including Niger, Chad, and Cameroon, will soon begin, the federal government said at the weekend. The Director General of the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants, and Internally Displaced Persons, NCFRMI, Tijani Aliyu Ahmed, said the government plans to empower such refugees in Nigeria instead of leaving them stranded in other countries. He noted that announcement by United States President Donald Trump that undocumented immigrants be deported from the country has set things in motion. Aliyu spoke of government preparedness to receive those to be deported to Nigeria. The NCFRMI Director General, who unveiled the plan during a media briefing in Abuja, said the government was putting machinery in motion to absorb and resettle the prospective deportees that will be affected by what he called a mere policy statement by the Trump administration. We still have in the studio Mr. Dele Fanimo, who is a seasoned reporter and VOP in-house analyst. Dele, thanks for staying with us.
Always my pleasure.
Now, in the midst of all that is happening, Nigerian government is taking proactive steps because we don't want to be embarrassed in other countries. And they say they are to bring back over 100,000 Nigerian refugees.
Is it all over the world or Africa?
Just Africa. Just Africa. Niger, Chad, Cameroon, and other places. Do we have that capacity to absorb these people? Are we going to put them in refugee camps, in IDP camps? What are we going to do to them? Dele, something as little as social intervention programs you cannot handle. How can we handle 100,000 refugees across Africa into Nigeria? I like that you made mention of the fact that India is ready to absorb 750,000 Indians. Do we have the capacity to take in these people?
You see, one thing is, the word refugee shouldn't be applied here. Some people left this country without any threats to their lives. They left on their own volition, but they got stranded. So I would have preferred they use stranded Nigerians. They are mostly stranded Nigerians that went for greener pasture, that when they got there, there was no pasture, not to talk of green or dry. I'll give you an example. When I went to Gambia, I met with a Nigerian community. In fact, how we got to know is that they came to play for us. They are from Edo State. So they came to showcase cultural dance for us. So after the dance, and I asked one of them, what are you doing in Nigeria, in Gambia? Are you saying Gambia is better than Nigeria? He said, somebody lured her that she would make more money in Gambia than Nigeria, and that the competition was not rife in Gambia. But when she got to the Gambia, she now discovered that the Gambians are already saturated with white tourists doing one thing or the other with their men. So they were not attracted to the Gambian men. Because apart from filial relationship with these white women, they also benefit immensely because those ones will bring dollars rather than you that want to take money from them, from the Gambian men. So they are more attracted to the whites who come for tourism and end up marrying a younger person that is as young as their grandchildren. So it was like this thing was rampant there. So now she wants to come back to Nigeria. But she said, she later brought about 4 of them to me, thinking that I could help. But I was just a poor journalist who went for a conference. You know? So at the end of the day, I couldn't help. But she was eager to come back to Nigeria, if only she could just get transport fare that would take her all the way from Gambia to Nigeria. And these are people that are scattered all over. You can't call those ones refugees. They were not driven by war or insecurity. Okay, but we also have some refugees, like those in our border neighbors, Niger, Chad, Cameroon, you know, driven by Boko Haram, Sudan, where in fact Sudan is even far. Okay. You understand? I mean, our immediate neighbors, Cameroon, bordered by the South, Chad, and Niger. You know?
No, I think people in Sudan are those who got stranded because they didn't leave when the war
That's
started.
what I'm saying. Yes. So that's why I said refugees should not be the operating word here. Some were stranded, some were actually refugees. Some people crossed to the other side because there was no opportunity for them to come inward during the Boko Haram crisis. You know, where they were caught up was closer to the border than to the main land. So they had to take the opportunity to go to other countries where they found, and of course, you know, some the Nigerians and the Chadians, they share this almost the same cultural affinity with their Nigerian counterparts in this border area. So it's easy for them to assimilate. So those ones, if you want to bring them, but the point is, coming to your question, can we accommodate 100,000 people? You will find out that out of this 100, the fortunate ones are likely to be the ones that have godfathers in government who could press for them. And some people will be in Lagos and will be counted as one of the 100,000 that will benefit. So whatever is earmarked for these returnees may not even get to them. They could be more stranded in Nigeria than where they are coming from, and more impoverished. Because I told you, I've seen so many things that have gone wrong in terms of distribution of palliatives in Nigeria. You imagine somebody calling somebody living in the city to come and take seedlings, take a pesticide and insecticide for farming. And they give them as many as 3 bags, 4 bags of seedlings, improved seedlings. They don't even have a farm in their generation. Whereas those who need this farm input are in the villages waiting for such that will never come to them. But when those people in the hinterland, when they hear that this particular incentive had been given out, they will begin to wonder that it's a lie. But in actual fact, it is true. But it's getting to the wrong hands. Trader money, what happened to it? They will just go to the market, do a show, a road show for about 30 minutes, 1 hour. Once the camera is turned off, they take the rest and give it to their cronies. And political godfathers determine who gets what. That's what is going to happen to this 100,000. So the man that is talking may not even know that he's opening another floodgate for corruption in the system. Because this money will not get to these people. These palliatives will not get to these people. It will be cornered by those fat cats.
So is it better to let them be where they are than to bring them back here?
If they are not the one crying, why must we cry than the bereaved? How can you be having a headache and I'll be using paracetamol on your behalf? Does it make any sense at all? If they are comfortable to some extent in that place, why should you force them to come to Nigeria when you have not made adequate provision for them to be able to at least have some level of comfort?
Now, don't you think that they are trying to be proactive? Because like this thing that Trump is doing, you know, could set off a bandwagon, you know, a wave of deportations of people across the world. I mean, if you are here and you don't have papers, you don't have documents, just go back to your country. Don't you think that Nigerian
But
government
some
they are trying
African
to be proactive?
some African countries will not want to do that to Nigeria. You understand? Because some
I mean, if South Africa could do it to Nigeria,
South
which other
Africa's
country?
case was xenophobia.
But it was more like.
But how many did they deport?
At any point,
How many
point,
did they deport?
At
They
any
would rather
point,
attack than
did the
deport.
South African government condemn what was happening? Did they?
Well, to some extent they didn't condemn it, but at least they have a way of making sure that
it became more like a state
thawed.
policy,
It
underground
thawed.
state policy.
The crisis thawed at some point.
Okay, now my question is, don't you think that there could be that Nigerian government is trying to act proactively?
See, there's nothing wrong in
So
being
that-
proactive.
Okay.
I don't see anything wrong in being proactive. What I'm saying is, you are aware that if you want to get the best of policies in this world, come to Nigeria. We have eggheads who could sit down, fashion our policies, but can you juxtapose implementation with policy in Nigeria? You end up getting a wide gulf. This man has said what he has said. In his own estimation, it's a good thing and it's the right place, the right direction Nigeria should go. But who are the people that are going to implement it? Ministry of Humanitarian Services, the two ministers that served there since the creation, they left with a lot of bags.
Is it good policy that people in our IDP camps, internally displaced Nigerians in Nigeria here, we are not able to take care of them medically? We can't send their kids to school. We can't even secure them because we also understand that terrorists are going to those camps to kidnap people and kill people. Isn't good policy that in the midst of not being able to take care of the internally displaced people, we are trying to bring back refugees to Nigeria?
That's what I said. I said whoever came up with this policy had an intention that is not noble. Because before you can take care of me, I must see some element of good care in you before you can tell me that you want to take care of me. How could you bring another 100,000 Nigerians from various countries to come back home when you know that insecurity is increasing geometrically, poverty is endemic?
How were these people even, how were they documented to know that we have over 100,000 people there? Do you think it's a ploy for some people to like?
I've told you it's a ploy for some people to begin to see how best they can make use of. Somebody must have written this proposal.
All right then. All right. Thanks very much, Dele. Can we have your concluding thoughts in 1 minute because we are out of time?
Let the correctional center prepare adequately for these convicts that are coming to finish their term in Nigeria. Then 2, let those who want to remain in their host country, let them remain there. Don't come and bring another burden that will become another issue for Nigerians. Because when they come back to Nigeria and they cannot find their level, they could also go into criminality, and then Nigeria will suffer more for it. 100,000 in one fell swoop is not something that you can just wish away when they come to Nigeria. And I'm sure that some of them would not want to even come back because they have relatives there who give them information about state of things in Nigeria.
All right then. Thank you very much, Mr. Dele Fanimo. Now, this is where we end Political Lens today. We've been speaking with Mr. Dele Fanimo. Dele is a seasoned reporter and VOP in-house analyst. Political Lens returns same time tomorrow at 6 p.m. Thanks for staying with us. I am Chukwuma Okoro and enjoy the rest of your evening.